The Motiv Evoke is already available, but I saw it and knew I had to have it, and finally got my hands on one, so I'm going to dunk myself in sunscreen and go toss the beach ball around. I am, of course, bowling on Kegel Chromium as usual. The lane graph is linked in the description if you want to look at the details, and yes, I am still at Royal Crest lanes. They just flipped the masking units for the summer. As we take a look at my layout, there are also instructional videos linked in the description to teach you about layouts and cores if you don't understand what any of the numbers mean. I also have links and discount codes from my sponsors down there. Supporting them supports me and helps to keep the videos coming, plus it gets you some good stuff in the process. Now for starters, this wasn't a comped ball for a review, and it was not quote-unquote free or specially discounted or whatever. This was one I wanted to throw, and of course I figured I might as well make a video in the process. Now, I gain absolutely zero for trying to talk something up anyway, but just to be clear, this is going to be just straight up what I think like always. One of the big things I'm interested in with the Evoke is the Duramax additive that Motiv says helps to significantly slow down lane shine or how fast duller balls lose their out-of-box surface. Now, while a ball shining up is just physics, it's going to happen no matter what because the ball will be gradually polished by the lane, the oil, ball return, so on and so forth. But having that process slowed down, especially in longer tournament formats, would be extremely helpful. The Tour Dynamics, for example, was great with surface on it, but it turned into a marble inside of 2 games, so unless it was usable shiny, there was no reason to ever put it in the bag for anything. The Evoke is a solid ASIM that's not quite as strong as a Gem, Extreme Envy, or Jackal Ambush, but stronger than an Absolute Power or a clone, so it's in Eternity Pi and Black Widow 3.0 territory. 248RG, 050 differential, and an 015 int diff in 15 pounds. Again, so it's not your huge oil monster, it's more like an asymmetric GB5 Summit Pride Dynasty. The Leverage MXC solid cover that comes at 2000 grit combines the base formula from the Black Venom with the aggressive components of the Forged Flare, and for me, who is a huge fan of the GB5 and the Summit, this does feel in very similar territory, just with a bit of asymmetric torque. It's a little bit firmer down lane or faster on the back end than I expected from seeing everyone else throw it. Again though, a little to no lane surface friction on the left side, so everything is a little longer and sharper for me on the left. It's between round and tumbly, so basically if you made an Absolute Power 3 to 5 boards stronger and a little earlier, that's what the Evoke is. I did like the power, it was just a little clean and flippy for me, plus it also shined up rather quickly like the TDX, so while it was in the right strength zone, I just couldn't get it to see the lane right front to back, or to blend out enough for me to throw it, and if I did, it didn't last very long. Plus, with it having more of a weaker cover, it wanted to be cleaner and sharper to begin with, so the amount of surface I needed to slow it down enough, in turn, made it too early and strong. The Evoke is going to be the answer for when I don't want something as big and slow as a Pure Madness or a Gem, but also not as clean and responsive as an Absolute Power, while also being an asymmetric version of the Summit when it's a little lazy. Now let's talk about how the surface held up. I bowled about 7 games with the Evoke during filming. I bowled 4 games while shooting this review, but then afterwards I did a fresh pattern versus transition pattern comparison with the Venom Shock, which you'll see coming soon, and I bowled another 6 games between the two of them, splitting the use virtually equally. We're watching the very first shot I threw with it, followed by the very last shot I threw with it, plus looking at the layout photos on the screen now. Fresh out of the box is on the left, then after I was done on the right.
They're the same picture.
It did get cleaned for transparency though, and I just cleaned it. No power gel scuff or reactive scuff or anything. It is a brighter colored ball, so it does get dirty. So it just got a basic cleaning for a clearer picture. And not a whole lot happened. The reaction was extremely consistent throughout filming. The surface isn't still dead fresh after 7 games naturally, but if I was bowling an 8-game block and this is how the ball looked afterwards, I'd be ecstatic. Now, while there's no way to actually keep the surface from changing at all, I mean, if they did that, you'd never be able to change or adjust it at all. I did notice a significant difference with this ball versus most other sanded solids. Since I have a couple videos coming taking a look at the Evoke versus the Shock, I'll pull the Absolute Power in at 2000 here. Now, I did like the power. Again, the cover was just a little too clean and quick, so I added some surface, and it still didn't quite slow it down enough. The power has been great for a lot of people, so this isn't to dog on it, just to show you the difference and why the Evoke fits better for me than the Power does, and to illustrate the difference for you. The Evoke might be a little too early and slow for you, and if that's the case, then you might be in the opposite situation. I snuck a few shots in with the Power, but I really had to lay off of it and kind of shove it through the middle to try to blend the friction response. However, there was a fine line between getting it down the lane and it missing the spot. I gave it several chances and just never could get comfortable with it or find a use for it. Once again, the Evoke is available now. Please hit the description, too many links and codes to keep dragging out every video with. Bowler's Mart link, CoolWick discount code, Nexus Backpack V2 discount link, Link Edition layout and core videos, Patreon, Discord, all of it. Thanks for watching, and may the strikes be with you.